guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just wanted to quickly say thank you to everyone for watching my wedding series, my wedding planning series, and following me along on this journey. I've had so much fun planning this wedding and sharing everything with you guys. It means so much to me how supportive and kind you are and how excited you are to see the pictures and the video. It makes me excited to share it with you guys. And I also wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't seen our Bahamas honeymoon vlogs, I will link them here and here. We did 2 vlogs, and on the second day I asked you guys if you had any wedding questions for me to ask in that video. So I'm gonna actually go to that video now and answer all of your wedding related questions and kind of have a little chit chat about the wedding day. Alright, so some of these questions I have looked over and some of them I haven't, but I've seen a lot of them repeated, and it's people want to know where all the bridesmaid gifts were from and the robes and the hangers and all that. I'm going to do an entirely separate video for that and answer everything and leave links and show up close photos and video and all that kind of stuff. And I'm also going to do a separate video on my makeup that I wore the day of the wedding, exactly how I did it, a full tutorial. It'll probably be like a 30-minute video. But I wanted to do those 2 videos separate, just so if you guys are getting married in the future or you're getting married soon, you can kind of go back and look at those videos and use them for reference and not be like, okay, what video was that in? I want to keep it organized for you guys. So those will be coming soon. I'm filming the wedding gift one this weekend, so you guys will see that very soon. The first question is from Ana Munoz, and how did you decide on the number of guests and how many were there? Well, we decided on 150 right when we first got engaged. And then when we started inviting people, we ended up obviously inviting a little bit more than 150. But once all the RSVPs came back and everything, it ended up being like 156 or something, so right around there. And we decided on that number of guests because that's how many would kind of comfortably fit in the venue. Next question is from Danielle Jones. How many months did it take to plan your wedding, and did you have a wedding planner or do most of it yourself? I did everything myself. I wanted to. I had a very direct vision of how I wanted everything to look, and I knew that it would just be easier on myself if I just did it, because sometimes it's hard for me to explain what I want and what I can see in my head. So it was easier if I just did everything myself, but I did have help from my sister, my mom, my friends, and Michael, so that was really nice. And it took me a long time to plan the wedding. We got engaged in February, and we got engaged the following June, so it took about 1.5 years. And I used that whole time. I was planning stuff every month. I was at least doing something, and then towards the end, the last 3 months, I mean, it was like a full-time job. You're doing stuff all the time. Okay, Kristen Baldwin, were your bridesmaid dresses from Rent the Runway? If so, what was your experience with the company? Yes, they were from Rent the Runway. And I've rented from them plenty of times in the past. I really trust them. I've never had any issues. So I was a little bit nervous just because this was obviously a really important occasion where if something went wrong, you'd probably be screwed, but thank God nothing went wrong. Everybody's dresses fit amazing. If you guys haven't ordered from them before, you do get 2 sizes for the price of one. It's like you buy one dress, you get one free. You can choose a different dress or just choose a different size. So we ended up having one of every size just in case, but it ended up working out perfectly. Rent them for the weekend, so much cheaper than buying dresses. Alright, Josephine, did you have a wedding budget? Did you stick to it? And do you have any tips on how to manage the budget? Yes, I did, and I think this, to answer your question, it's going to be different. What I did to what you did, it's going to be different for everybody. But my parents offered to pay a certain amount of money for the wedding. Michael and I were very thankful for that, but we also had open communication where we knew and they knew that if we were to go over that amount, it was Michael and I's responsibility to pay for the extra costs. So Michael and I knew that this was something we also had been saving up for, something really important to us that we decided as a couple were more than willing to spend money on certain things. So I think, like I said, it's going to be different for everybody. Something that you have to talk to your fiance about and you guys as a couple decide. But just keep really open communication. Make sure you're talking about everything and discussing everything. That way nobody's feelings get hurt and you know exactly what's going on. But it's just up to you what's important to you. For Michael and I, this is really important for us, and we had no problem spending some money on it. Erin Noel wants to know if we got a professional video taken at our wedding and if we will be sharing it. Yes, we had a videographer there who filmed everything, and they're putting the video together for us now. So as soon as I get that video, I will put it up for you guys the next day, so you guys will be the first to watch it. Alright, Ellen Horan wants to know, what was the most stressful thing about planning a wedding? For me, the most stressful, it wasn't really a thing, but it was the last 8 weeks, like the last 2 months before the wedding. You're just doing stuff every day because no matter how much time you have to plan your wedding, there are certain things that you can't do until you're closer to the wedding. For me, we were having that cake and like candy table, and you can't really order candy until you're close to the wedding, so that was really stressful for me to kind of like pick that all out and decide where to order it from, and do I get it shipped here, do I get it shipped to my parents' house? Like all those last minute things are what made it really stressful. So if you can just like focus on that on the weekends or like at night, if your fiance can help you or your friends. It definitely took me a lot of time, and I'm very thankful that my schedule is flexible so I could do it, because it was definitely like a full-time job those last few weeks. Ashley G has a few wedding questions. Is there anything you think you could have skipped on? Some people say they wish they would not have spent so much on favors, cake, food, DJ. Luckily, I did not have anything that I felt that way. I was totally impressed with everything. The day of the wedding, it went exactly how I had envisioned it, and even better. The one thing I will say is, back to the candy table again, I didn't exactly know how much candy to order, so I ordered a lot, like a ton of candy, and it did not all get eaten, which I knew it wasn't going to. It was more so for the look of it. I wanted all the jars to look completely full, and I wanted it to like be also like decor for a wedding, not just as like the favor and just for eating. But that could have been something where we had definitely left over. We didn't need that much. But I don't regret it. I would do it again because I liked the way that it looked. So I guess you could say that. And what was your wedding menu? We had a cocktail hour before that had like fruit and veggies and that kind of stuff, like just like cheese and like easy things. And then for dinner we just had like a regular, it was turkey, potatoes, salad, like that kind of stuff. She also wants to know, how did you decide on the Bahamas and what made you choose sandals? We chose sandals because it was all inclusive and we thought that was really easy. And we chose Bahamas because they had like a little offshore island that you could go to that was like part of the resort. We thought that was really cool. So that's why we chose it, and it ended up being amazing. I would totally recommend going there. We loved every second of it. Okay, so the next question is from Miss to Mrs. She says that she's a new subscriber, she loves my videos, and she's getting married soon, so congratulations, that's awesome. Her question was, how did you handle stress from planning, and did it affect you and Michael in any way? I tried to just be calm about it, but for me, the wedding, I was really a perfectionist about it, and I think part of that was because I'm sharing it with you guys, and I wanted it to be perfect for you, and I wanted you guys to see how everything came together. If I wasn't posting it on YouTube, I don't think I would have been as crazy about it, but it was very stressful for me the last couple of weeks. It was just like I was ready for it to be here already, and it didn't ever feel like it was coming. It felt like it was so far away. So definitely was stressful. I don't have any tips for how to handle it though. I didn't do a very good job of handling it. It was really stressful for me. Alright, Brenna M10, what were your top priorities for your wedding budget, such as flowers, dress, etc.? My top 2 priorities were my photos and my videos, not only because I'm sharing it with you guys, but also because after the wedding is over, that's all you have is your memories and your pictures. So that was at the top of my list, to get the good photos and good video. Pink Erica, what kind of bra did you wear with your strapless dress, and was it comfortable? I had like cups that were sewn into the dress, but because it was so low cut, I couldn't really wear like a bra with it. I just wore like these little silicone cover things I bought at a store locally, but I'm sure I can find them online and I'll link them for you guys. I wear them all the time with anything like strapless or really low cut. They're really easy to wear. Kristen Wen, what are some of the things you DIY'd for your wedding, and do you regret doing anything DIY? I've been thinking about this for a couple of minutes, and I didn't really DIY anything. You guys saw a lot of the things that I used. A lot of it I had like specially made for me, I guess you could say, but I had other people do it. Like I hired professional people to do it just because I knew there was a certain way I wanted things to look, and I am not professional in all these different areas, so I wanted to hire someone to make it look the way I wanted. So a lot more of that decor stuff will come in the decor video, but I really didn't DIY anything. Kristen Hernandez, do you think a rehearsal dinner is completely necessary? If you're having a wedding in a church, I would say it's completely necessary, just so everyone knows like what order to walk in and how things are gonna go, and just kind of get everybody comfortable. but if not, I don't think it's completely necessary, but I definitely had a lot of fun, and it was a way to get everybody together and make everybody feel comfortable before the wedding and just kind of get excited. And at least for me, since I live so far away from all of my friends and family, I wanted to be with them as much as possible, so it was definitely necessary for me, and I had a great time. Okay. Beverly Herrera, she says that she's getting married next February, and she noticed that we had our ceremony and our reception at different places. Was this a struggle or an annoyance in any way? She's kind of considering doing it too. It definitely wasn't. I always knew that was going to be the case because we wanted to have our ceremony at our church, and there isn't really a place to have a reception there. I actually thought it was kind of nice, and it kind of broke up the day, and it was a way for people to have something kind of to do in between while we took photos. They had to drive, you know, from the ceremony to the reception location, so it gave us like a half an hour to take our pictures in between. Nikki Stemper wants to know, she has a few questions. Her first question is, did you have a first look before the ceremony? No, we didn't, but Michael almost saw me before the ceremony. I saw him, but he didn't see me, thank God, or else I would have been mad. She also wants to know if Michael got me a gift. Yes, he got me tickets to see Shania Twain in concert. We went this past weekend and we vlogged it, so that vlog will be up soon for you guys. What kind of flowers did you have? I wanted all white flowers, so we had white roses, white peonies, and white hydrangeas. Kara Carter also asks us, like, what was the meaning behind Michael and I's first dance song, and how did you decide on it? We actually danced to a Shania Twain song at the wedding, and that's kind of why he got me the concert tickets. So we just really like her, and we thought it was a really beautiful song. That's how we chose it. Julia wants to know, how long was the actual ceremony, and was it a traditional Catholic? Yes, it was a full mass, so it was about an hour and 10 minutes. It was pretty long. Pink Cheeks 81 wants to know, did you get a spray tan for the wedding or use self-tanner? I didn't really do either. I had just like a natural tan. We went to Florida a few times before the wedding, but I did have a big tan line like on my back from my bathing suit. So the morning of, I put like a little bit of loving tan just in that area, and I used like my Beauty Blender sponge. But I didn't want to be like overly tan for my wedding, and I also didn't want self-tanner like going all over my dress. Unfortunately, it got really hot and I was dancing all night, so it kind of happened anyways, the stuff that was on my back, but I didn't really do anything. Zanetta Kajan, did you guys consider booking a limo, or was it easier to just use your own cars? We considered it, we looked it up. It was really ridiculously priced, at least in my opinion. It's not something that I thought was necessary. I kind of feel like limos are like a little bit old-fashioned. I didn't think I needed it, especially for how much they were. It was just not anything that was on top of my list. So we drove in our own cars, and it actually ended up being really fun that way. It was easy. Okay, now I'm going to go to the picture that I posted on Instagram. A couple of you guys asked questions on there too. Let's see. Tashi Poo 2, where did you get your seating chart and signs for the wedding? I actually had them made. I couldn't find anything that I really liked or that I loved that felt like it would go with my wedding, so I had them made. I totally recommend going through a graphic designer and getting made exactly what you want. The person that I had do it is, I think, starting an Instagram account, so if he has done that already, I will link it below. If not, I will let you guys know when he does start that Instagram account. B.V wants to know if Michael and I ever thought about having a small wedding and putting money towards a larger purchase such as a home. You know, we didn't. It's something that I've always wanted, was to have a big wedding and have all of my friends and all of my family there, and I think Michael would agree with me, so it was not ever even something we discussed. We always knew we wanted a big wedding. Maddie Rust wants to know, what was your favorite part of the whole day? I think my favorite part was after the ceremony and after dinner, just like dancing with everybody and like catching up with people I haven't seen in a long time, and dancing with Michael and just like having fun and laughing and being with our friends. It was so great to have everybody that you love and everybody that you care about in just one room together with you for one night, celebrating you and the person you love. Like, there's nothing better than that. It was so much fun. Definitely all of the dancing. And then we actually ended up going out after the wedding, and that was really fun too, being with like the bridal party and all of our best friends and just like having a great time. Aubrey Erickson wants to know, what was your inspiration for your entire wedding day? It can be daunting to figure out a theme and stick to it. That's kind of a good or a hard question to answer, because I wouldn't necessarily say there was a theme, because I would try to get inspiration like on wedding websites or magazines or Pinterest, and I never found anything that was exactly what I wanted. And of course I saw like multi-million-dollar weddings that were like amazing and gave me inspiration, but I knew it was something that wasn't realistic for me. So I kind of just had to think of my own thing and tried to think of things that I liked and Michael liked and what we wanted to include on the day. And I just tried to make it original and make it be about Michael and I and things that we like. Michaela401 wants to know if Michael and I wrote our own vows. No, we didn't. I really did not want to cry on our wedding day, and I knew if I did something like that I would totally cry. So we did not do that, and Michael didn't want to do it either. Kylene Abraham wants to know what type of music did you have? We had a DJ. It was just better for our price range, and also that's just what I wanted. So we could play a bunch of different songs from a bunch of different singers and groups and stuff like that. I ended up choosing a lot of the songs beforehand just because, like I said earlier, I really had a vision for how I wanted our day to be and what songs I wanted played and at what time. So I actually put together like a list of songs that I wanted played at the cocktail hour, songs that I wanted to be played during dinner, and songs that I wanted to be played at the reception. And of course he added some other ones in there here and there and stuff. I mean, he's the professional, but I did have a lot of requests that I wanted to be played. Maud wants to know if I had a wedding checklist and if I can share it. I didn't exactly have a wedding checklist, but at the beginning of every month I would kind of figure out what tasks I needed to get done for that month, what things were really important that I needed to get done. And then once it got closer to the wedding, I kind of did one like every week, things I needed to get done that week. But I did do like a whole wedding like day of timeline, and I'm gonna do a whole video on that because I think that's really important. It was important for me because it helped really get me less stressed out and made me more calm, but I think it also helped everybody else out too because everybody knew what was going on, who was going to be where at what times. Everyone has everyone's phone number just in case and everyone's addresses and that kind of stuff. So I will do a whole video on that in the future, but definitely if you're getting married soon, create a wedding day timeline and email it out to everybody the week of the wedding. It made a huge difference. Alright, Alana Picardi wants to know how old were you and Michael when you met? We were 12 years old. That seems really young, but we were 12 years old. Erin Harris wants to know how long were you engaged for? Do you think it was enough time to enjoy each other as fiancés? Yes, that was something really important to me. I wanted to be engaged for at least a year, if not a little bit longer, because I wanted to experience all of the holidays and all of the things that happen in a year as an engaged couple before we got married. Of course, it's not like a huge deal, and looking back on it now that we are married, it really wasn't a big deal, but I enjoyed it, and it was nice to enjoy every step of the process, like enjoy being a couple, enjoy being engaged, and now enjoy being married, and not rush anything. But I also think that you definitely don't need a year and a half if you don't want to. Maria JCT wants to know, what are your thoughts on people getting married young or engaged young? My thoughts is it's not my business, and if you want to get engaged young, that's awesome. I think that's really cool, and I like to support people, especially people that want to get married. I think that's really cool. Of course, if you're doing it for the right reasons, then I 100% support them. Alright, Abs for Life wants to know, was it stressful to do your hair and makeup yourself? If you could change the way that you looked, would you? I didn't do my hair myself. I had my hair done. I did my makeup myself. If I wasn't so picky about my makeup and if that wasn't my job, then I probably would have had someone else do my makeup as well. It was just nice to be pampered and to not be stressed out about it, and to just get that taken care of, and I could just enjoy the day. However, I feel like for me, if I would have had my makeup done, it would have ended up making me stressed out because I would have been worried about it, whereas my hair, I'm not so worried about it. So it just depends what you're really picky about or what's really important to you. I knew my hair, I just wanted it teased and curled. It's super easy. Somebody else can do it and I can relax. And so, yeah, it was nice to get my hair done. Definitely, I had to do my makeup myself though. April Tompkins wants to know, what did I get Michael for a gift? I got him a Nashville Predators jersey with his name on the back. Emmy Rumor wants to know, if you could go back and change one thing or add one thing, what would it be? I can honestly say I don't feel like I would change anything. Everything went exactly how I had pictured it, and even better than I had pictured it. It was the best day ever, the best day of my life, and I loved every second of it. And I think for me, I really tried to focus on when I was planning, focusing on those small details, and because I had such a long timeline to like think of every little thing, It ended up working out okay, but I don't think I would change anything. I really loved the way everything came out. A lot of people asked like if anything went wrong or if there was any like things that happened like that were bad throughout the day. Nothing bad happened. It was great, and I loved every second of it. All right, Perez Casey wants to know, when were you 100% sure you wanted to get married? I was 100% sure that I wanted to marry Michael a long time ago, probably when I was like 16 or 17, but I knew that I actually wanted to like have a wedding and get married like that at that time. Probably like 3 years before we got engaged, when I was about 19 or 20, was when I really was like, okay, I'm ready to actually get married now. Smash Kadash wants to know, who is your dress designer? My dress was the London dress from Haley Page. I loved it, and I love all of her dresses. If you guys don't follow her on Instagram, you should. She just got married and her wedding was beautiful. So JC Saunier wants to know if I have any tips for someone getting married next year. I'd say my biggest tip for you guys if you're getting married is to focus on the details. Because of course you're going to figure out your dress and you're going to figure out what flowers and what venue, and those big things will be easier to figure out and to decide on. It's the small details that take the most amount of time, at least they did for me, like figuring out exactly like what chargers you want under your table or what tablecloths, and like maybe the signage. Like the small details really make the biggest impact, at least I did for me. So focus on details, be really organized, get a planner or a notebook and write everything down, everything that you want to accomplish and that you want to do or that you want to have at your wedding. Staying organized is really going to help. BD Negron says, I think you should go over common mistakes to avoid. For example, I regret not making sure I spent time with all the guests. That was something that I had thought about beforehand, making sure I said hi to every single person that came and thanked them for coming. So Michael and I actually did like receiving line type thing, like as we left the church. We left after the ceremony, then we signed our marriage license and we walked back in, and we like, I don't know what the word is, but we like let everybody leave, and we like hugged everybody and like shook everybody's hands and said hi to every single person as they left. Like we kind of walked every person out. That way, before we even got to the reception, we had already said hi to everybody that came. Then there were a couple people that just came to the ceremony, so I think it was good that we did that too. So the next question is from Fiamma Ahani, and she is engaged, and she says she's struggling to decide on a budget because she can't decide if she wants to get a car or a house or pay for the wedding instead. That's definitely going to be something that's going to be different for everybody. Something that I would recommend, again, keeping like open communication with your fiance and talking about what's right for you and what's right for your future. And there's nothing saying you can't do both. I mean, you can just see what budget works for you towards your house and what budget works for you towards your wedding and figure out what works best for you guys. So that's exactly what Michael and I did. You know, we have money that we're saving for that kind of stuff, and then money that we had saved for our wedding. For us, our wedding was really important to us, and we wanted to just thank everybody, thank all of our friends and family for supporting us throughout all the years that we've been dating. So it was really important for us to have that big wedding, but if it's not important to you, then don't do it. Do what you guys feel right is for you guys as a couple. So that's what felt right for us, so that's what we did. Amber Mead wants to know if we had an engagement party, and if so, how did you go about planning it? I actually didn't have an engagement party. I thought about it, but I just felt like I would rather save my money towards the wedding and spend it on that kind of stuff than have two parties. So I didn't end up doing it, but if you want to, I think that'd be really fun, a way to get everybody together. I did end up going out to dinner with a few of my girlfriends and kind of like celebrating it, but it wasn't like a full party or anything. Kristen Shamoon, how do you know what color theme to go with? There are so many options and it can be overwhelming. That's totally true, and I think for me, I wanted something that was going to be timeless and classic, not necessarily traditional, but timeless. So I like that more modern look, and so I wanted to go with clean colors. That's why I went with basically an all-white wedding. The room that we had the wedding in was actually like painted gold. There was a lot of gold detail, so I didn't need to add much more color. We just stuck with the whites and basic colors, a little black here and there, a little bit of gold here and there, and just kept it really classic. Shelby Newkirk, how did you manage the actual wedding day? Who was in charge of making sure everything was taken care of so you could enjoy it? That's where the timeline really came in handy, because I didn't have like a coordinator or a planner or anything like that. there was someone at each place that like worked there and they kind of helped you the day of. So they were there, but really it was me in charge of everything. So that's why that timeline helped everybody. If they had any questions, they could look at that, and like everything was answered on there. It took me like a week to put that thing together, so I really relied heavily on that. Skyson asks, why did you cut the cake so early in the reception, and did you have a sit-down dinner or a buffet? We had a sit-down dinner, and we cut the cake early because the club where we had it wanted to have like 20 minutes to be able to actually finish cutting the cake and plating it and giving it out to everybody, and they wanted to do it right after dinner. So it just worked out better for them that way. It wasn't a big deal to me. We got a ton of pictures of the cake and us cutting the cake beforehand anyways, so that's why we did that. Zoe J says, what were you most nervous about? I wasn't really nervous, and even on the day of I wasn't nervous, but I hadn't really tried on my dress for longer than like 5 minutes at a time, or like 20 minutes every time I went and tried it on or got it fitted or whatever. So once it was finally like fitted, I hadn't actually worn it for that long. I just tried it on to make sure it fit. It fit, I took it off and I went home. So actually putting it on the day of, it was so tight and it was so hard to breathe in. So I was actually just really nervous about that. Like I was focusing on that, and it was hard to like not focus on how tight that dress was because it was so hard to breathe. But it ended up working out good. The dress looked good in pictures and everybody liked it. So it was worth it, but that was so nerve-wracking, like not being able to breathe and the dress being so tight all day. I woke up and I had like bruises on my back. That's how tight it was. Oh, and also speaking of that, I forgot to mention, I know one of you guys noticed it in the pictures, but I actually ended up not wearing my shoes the whole day either. I picked out these really pretty like Jimmy Choo heels, and I forgot to break them in. I never wore them leading up to the wedding. I was just like too busy. I didn't think about it. They were so uncomfortable and so not worth it. So after the ceremony, I took them off and I put on like a pair of heels that I wear all the time. Oh my gosh, so definitely have a pair of backup shoes if you have not broken in your heels yet, because they were so uncomfortable. And I wanted to like enjoy the moment and not be worried about my feet hurting so bad. So I just took them off. Alright, so those are all the questions that I'm going to answer for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. I really want this video to get to 10,000 thumbs up. It would mean so much to me. Thank you guys for everything. I hope that you got your questions answered. If you have any other questions for me, just leave them down below in a comment. Make sure to subscribe to see all of my weekly videos, and also subscribe to my vlog channel so you guys don't miss out on that too. Thank you for watching. Bye. Along to Don McLean at the levee.